All right, welcome to another episode of Kiss My Assets podcast, and I'm Jamison Manwaring, co-founder, CEO of Neighborhood Ventures, and we have an exciting podcast because we brought John in the studio. John, welcome.
I'm always around. I'm just usually over here somewhere.
Yeah, your office is just a few doors down, but we're excited to grab you and got on your calendar this time. So John Kabrowski is the other co-founder and president of real estate, and we wanted to come in as we get near the end of this year. We have a couple of projects that are at an exciting point in their progression and wanted to bring you in. Let's talk about them. And so we're going to kick it off and talk about our property, Ventron Country Club. So this is our 120 unit hotel to multifamily conversion. That's plan A and always has been plan A, but we're currently operating the property as a short-term rental, which is plan B. And want to talk about what's happening at the property and our path forward as we look to get the property rezoned. So want to just kind of get your thoughts on the property overall and kind of where we're at.
Yeah. So one thing I had the opportunity for a number of reasons to look back at old photos and then talk to someone who was on the property the first week we closed. Oh, our lender.
Yeah.
Remember, we were there with them. And gosh, what a different property it is. It is so nice compared to what it was. It's running so well. We've taken care of all the big things. The units are renovated right. The short-term rental thing's working out really well for us. Our management's filled in really well. Crime is down in the neighborhood 90%. We keep hearing that over and over.
Yeah, our neighbors love us
Yeah.
because we took what was probably the big problem in the neighborhood, in the block, and converted it to a property that now is people love seeing it when they drive by it, and the crime has gone down, as you say, 90%. And the city says that too.
Yeah, we're doing the right things. So properties looks great. No complaints, no issues on the horizon. I look at the property and I go, is there something we should be doing to offset something else? No, it's going the way it should.
And I just met with our short-term rental partner, our vacation rental partner, and we just came off of our best month ever over there in November, which is a busy travel month.
And that's just the start of the good season.
Really strong occupancy. We'll put these numbers out a little bit later as we get through them, but we had our best month ever, and we're starting to see really strong bookings for the first of the year. They mentioned one person who stayed there last year in some of the units that had been renovated, and they said, we're so excited to come back and have fun at the property. So exclamation point, and folks are now coming back out for their second time.
Yeah. And the Connex boxes are gone. All the construction stuff's gone too, which is another big part of it. But yeah, so that's going really well. The big elephant in the room is the zoning. We got to a certain point with the city last year, a little bit further along than we are now in the year, and got a lot of traction. We're down a certain path. And then we submitted some of our final documents they wanted for a rezone. And about that same time that we were waiting for comments to come back, another hotel project in Mesa that was doing what we're doing, converted to apartments. The city gave them the approvals, and the approvals were not subject to getting things done. It was, we're going to give you these approvals, but we really would like you to finish up all the landscaping, blah, 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 blah. Well, developers sold the deal.
Yeah, so they got the approval from the city and then sold it to somebody else.
Yep. And the city, looks at it and goes, we just got taken advantage of. We don't have landscaping done. The property's not finished the way it's supposed to. Yes, it's an apartment building, but it's not to the level we wanted it on a main street in Mesa. So the long and short of it is, again, lots of experience and stuff like this. You're better off pulling back and not pushing up against something like that than getting a no or fighting something and then have to come back and retract. So we made a decision when that happened. It was called out to us and told that the support for this project, or this type of project, not even ours, but this type of project, wasn't as strong as it was a few months earlier. We said, I think it's a good time to back off for a while, which we did. And now we've got our architect re-engaged. Our attorneys have always been engaged. Vice mayor, other city council people have been very supportive and pushing on us. So our architects had at least 3 conversations now with the planning people, and are going through the process of getting what's called a PAD, a planned area development which is a type of rezone where we define our property and the zoning characteristics and the signage characteristics of our property. Basically, rezone, but it's a different type of rezoning. And there are things that they're going to want from it, like covered parking and some other things that we can't do a lot of. But it's not a matter of saying no from us. It's a matter of working with the city staff and saying, we can put some covered parking here. We can make this change. We can do some other things to it. And that's the process that has to happen now. So we switch things up and are working back on track on that. And I feel confident about the process. I know it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah, and you said that from the beginning. And one thing I'd point out, the old adage, this isn't your first rodeo. We've gone down this path before, and I think the important thing to remember here is that we're playing the long game. We're not wanting to get a quick flip and maybe like some folks or the other developer who wanted to sell it. Once they got that approval, we would rather take the time, do it, get the approvals the right way. In the meantime, we're running it as a vacation rental, as we've already mentioned, and it's generating really strong cash flow. So we're doing well on a cash flow standpoint. But our plan was and continues to be to get this rezoned. But I think it's just important to know this stuff doesn't happen overnight. Any development, when you're working with the city, when you're working with the zoning department, there's a lot of stakeholders that want to engage, and we've had multiple meetings with them on site with the planning department. One of the things that stands out to me is that the city council is very supportive of this.
Absolutely. And so is the planning department in general, but there are rules about what you have to have on a property to meet these things. So,
and this property was originally planned as it's a commercial property, a hotel. And so there's going to be some tweaks that we knew would come. And so we've waited on doing some of those things. We've waited on doing some of the landscaping because we want to get the feedback from the city. We've waited on converting the laundry room that was previously commercial laundry room to more of a tenant-friendly laundry room. But we have converted what was the old breakfast room to a gym that's working great. And now we also have co-work space in the old offices, which is now working. And so our vacation rental folks, when they go to book the room, they can also book a desk up at the co-work space where they have a computer monitor, they have fast internet. People are loving that. So we've done some things that we know will help in our cause. But our original goal was to get the rezoning done by the end of this year. And in discussing with our attorneys, our architect, and our team,
all our attorneys and architects told us back in May last year, April, May, when this whole thing came up with the other developer who, again, they did everything except for the extra stuff they were supposed to do, landscaping and some outside improvements and things. And they didn't do anything wrong by selling. They just didn't finish what they said they're going to do. And they weren't tied to anything. So our team, architects and attorneys, said, we could push this and stay on the path we're on. And there's a good chance we'll get the approvals. But their answer was, if we get a denial, it's so much more difficult to go back and resubmit and have a second bite at the apple. And that's where it was my personal decision to say no.
Better to pull back. Pivot.
Because the other thing was, we had the plan B that's working. If it wasn't working, I would have said, this is just a strategic evaluation. Are you going to punt? Or are you going to run? It's fourth down and inches. Are you going to punt or run? My whole thing was, we're going to punt. We're going to kick, because I'm not going to try to run this through and push it through. I think realistically right now it's summer that we're going to get through this. The thing that's also now back in our favor, COVID's not causing a problem with shutdowns of city offices.
That's caused major delays.
We'll talk about Broadway, and everything else. The delays and the out of work people and the inability to have direct one-on-one conversations and discussions and on the fly negotiations with staff over things. You lost that human touch to things.
Just one story around that. Let's say you want to make an adjustment to plans that have been either submitted or approved. Typically, a developer can go in and meet with all the stakeholders at the city, the utilities department, and bring everyone to a table, so to speak,
with the plans
in one spot,
and work through everything right there.
Kind of like a bringing the whole family together at dinner and discussing an issue and bringing everyone there. Now, and it has been the case since COVID, none of that can happen. It's all done over email. So you send it to one department. They might approve it. They might have questions. And it's this kind of discombobulated process.
Right. So to take that one step further, one department says, I want the driveway wider. You got to widen it. And you got to put a dumpster here. Okay, we'll do that. You get the plans back. Now it goes to another department. Let's call it the fire department. They come back, go, no, our trucks won't fit through there. The dumpster won't fit. And you're dealing with each one of these entities and stakeholders at a vacuum, where in the normal process, you're going, well, I can't do that because of that. And I go, oh yeah, well, what if we, and that's that process, that give and take thing ends up becoming a great project. So again, we're not the only ones dealing with stuff like this.
So we expect this approval now be done by summer at Venturon Country Club. We're going into the strong season when it comes to vacation rentals, so we're excited about that. But we are still very optimistic we'll be able to get this approved.